Our County Auditor, Tom Cotter, will lead us in the pledge.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day and for the opportunity which we have to be able to meet here in the county building and be able to do the county's business. Father, we're grateful for this area and for the good people that live here. We're grateful for our family and friends and for the freedoms that we enjoy. We're grateful for those who serve us here locally and our sheriffs and fire departments and emergency services and those who serve us abroad across this nation and around the world. Father, please bless them and guard and protect them in their duties. And Father, this day, please bless us that we might be able to have thy spirit to be able to make the decisions that will be best for the county and for the future going forward, and help us that as we do these things that will benefit the lives of our children and grandchildren. Father, again, we're so very grateful for all the good men and women who live and work here and that volunteer and that make this a better place. And we're thankful for these things, and we say this humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
You'll join me in saying the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, anything we need to review, any reports, future agenda items we need to cover?
I think just that ARPA next time.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have a little bit longer administrative session at our next meeting, and we will be discussing some of the ARPA projects that have been submitted. So, okay, any former agenda items we need to cover? Okay.
I think so.
Emergency management.
COVID,
Yeah, Omicron
4-letter word.
has reared its ugly head. Again, be safe. If you're sick, stay home. The governor's office even mentioned that at this point it's not pointless to get tested, but if you're sick and you're experiencing those symptoms, just assume that you have COVID. Stay home. When you get feeling better, go back to work. We just need to stop the spread on this one. It is more contagious, but the symptoms tend to be much less severe. And we're a little bit behind the UK and Europe. It ripped through there, and it looks like we're going to have the same thing. You see the plateau on this quicker, and we're hoping that we'll see the decline quicker. So, again, that's where we're at. Just be smart.
And USU is doing the testing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? Or over by USU, the test Utah.
Yeah, thank you. The testing site was moved from the hospital with the increase in cases. There was just too much traffic congestion. And so in conjunction with the health department, Test Utah, and the good folks at USU Brigham City, they're allowing that site to be located on the south end. So if you do need to be tested, you make an appointment, you come in on 2nd East, go all the way down, come around the corner, come in the southeast corner, and then exit on the southwest. So, thanks, sir. ARPA, we talked about. Let's see.
There's no minutes.
Yeah. Minutes.
Did the administrative session?
Minutes we will have next time, Marla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got a public hearing at 11:45 for the RDA, but we can go into a couple of these items right here prior. Let's see. Is Laura here? Laura Gale?
I don't think she's here yet.
Let's see.
See the sheriff and
Well, we'll
Jenica.
keep skipping ahead until we get to these. So, Dale, do you want to cover that on the search and rescue?
Sure.
yesterday.
So this is with the updated figures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dale Ward, Chief Deputy, Sheriff's Office. We're on the agenda today to cover the year-end report for the search and rescue. I'd like to start the comments by saying we are very blessed at the Sheriff's Office to have actually 3 volunteer units that help us throughout the year. That being the search and rescue unit, the scuba team, and the horse posse. And with each of them having their own specialty, they do work together in conjunction with some cases, some missions that they have. The most familiar one that you would have would be when we had the airplane gone and we found it in the lake. So, but we would not be able to operate without these units. The search and rescue just recently, they have a yearly banquet which got postponed a year ago, and so they reinitiated that this year. And their year-end report consisted of just some of the basics. They have, as of January 2021, they started the year with 7 life members, 23 active members, and 9 probationary members. Through the year, they lost one of their life members. Bob Richards passed away, and 1 active member left the team, and also 2 probationary members. So they ended the year with 6 life, 22 active, and 7 probationary. Those 7 probationary are in the process of becoming full members of the unit. So the categories that I've listed on here, for the sake of calculation, the mileage calculations are per member, meaning each member present calculates into the mileage, even though there may be multiple passengers in a vehicle from the building to a scene, but they all drive to and meet at the building. They muster at the building whenever they get called out, and obviously for their meetings and their trainings. So meetings, there were 12 meetings held, and out of those meetings, the total mileage was 8,633, and total man hours were 299. They had 21 trainings throughout the year, which did not include the NASAR training for the new recruits, where they get a certification through the National Association of Search and Rescue, and their wilderness first aid training. So their total mileage for trainings was 18,225 miles, and total hours were 1,085 that they spent just in training. There were 14 call-outs, with 12 of these being a full team call-out. 2 call-outs were handled by calling just a few members to respond. For the full call-out, total mileage was 5928, and total hours were 472. They obviously have additional duties that they perform, going to meetings,
Security at the fair,
security, all that kind of stuff that they do. This is where we found that they had negated some of their stuff, but total mileage for that was 5,863, and total hours were 497. So they came up with a grand total of 38,649 miles that they traveled, and 2,353 hours of time. So the costs were calculated at the government rate of 56 cents per mile and an average U.S. wage of $24.54 per hour. So I'm not going to go through all of the categories, but ultimately we came up with our grand totals. The grand total of savings to the county, as far as we're concerned, was a total of $79,385, with the mileage being 21,643 and the total hours $57,742. As I said, Sheriff's Office could not operate without these people. They have been lucky and had some good rescues, but unfortunately, most of our teams deal with recovery of lost souls. And it doesn't matter whether it's a rescue or a recovery, they still bring that loved one back to their family. So we appreciate everything they do for the Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, we do too, especially because like you just said, the pay is basically a steak dinner
Yep.
and a lot of handshakes and a lot of letters and stuff like that. And you know as well as I do that the time of volunteering is being tough right now. There's places in southern Utah that are being called out 20 times a week.
Yeah.
That are all volunteers.
Yeah, there are counties in this state that actually have to split their search and rescue up in teams and cover 24/7. Grand County, I'm really good friends with Sheriff White. He averages 200 call-outs a year. So,
Something's got to be done in that aspect for sure, because it's the local residents that are paying the taxes and everything else to help with that. Mineral lease gives them their equipment, but when it comes time to gas and books and everything else, and then what do? Leave their jobs? And
so we have a very well-equipped team, and it's through mineral lease, and we budget every year, and we get some good stuff. Tom, through Fleet, has been very good and helped us out. We have some good reliable equipment now, and we'll just continue building on that.
thanks, Dale.
Great.
Thanks
Dale.
again.
Yep.
Let's see.
You got time for Jenica or not?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Let's see, we've
Because you
got,
could have somebody talk and tell them what the public hearing's about.
There you go. Do you want to have
yeah, let's
Liz?
let's go ahead and move into our RDA meeting at this time. We will have minutes for our last RDA meeting and this one at our next RDA meeting. Commissioner Summers, I believe that you are in charge of this RDA meeting.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion for the minutes.
Don't have any this time.
I thought you said you had them last time.
No, you'll have to.
Oh, next time. Okay, never mind. We have a public hearing to talk about rocket and steel and solar. And if Liz, do you want to come up and kind of give us an overview of what's going on? That'd be great. And then he'll interrupt you in about a minute to open it up, and then we'll go from there.
All right, I'll speak quickly then.
No, you don't have to speak quickly. Oh, I'll
You'll
interrupt.
me.
Sorry.
Which everybody's more used to.
All right, well, Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for having us today. So I think what we intended for today, for the sake of efficiency, given that these are amendments, was we were hoping to get the plan and budget approved, the county commissioners to approve the plan and budget by ordinance, and then also the approval of the participation agreements for Steel 2 Solar and Rocket 2 Solar. I think we might have had some confusion with UAC on what was noticed for today.
Okay.
So I think based on what was noticed, we should be able to work through the plan and budget within the RDA today, and then based on whatever the appropriate notice requirements are, or required notice requirements are for the county commission approval, and then the participation agreements approval, we can come back in 1 to 2 weeks and get this all done.
1st of February. Okay.
Yep. So, so at the next meeting. So for today, based on the updated plans for the inclusion of the Rocket 2 properties into the Rocket RDA and the Steel 2 properties into the Steel Solar RDA, we're requesting approval of that. And, had a very positive meeting with the school district a couple weeks ago. They approved their increment.
Oh, yeah, it's 11:45. I need to open up the public hearing, so That's all I need to say.
Great.
That's good. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And then, so, I think the process is moving along nicely. And then in parallel, as we're working through this process on the expansions, we did also receive those CUPs on the expansions with the Planning Commission just before the holidays. And while we're working through those development items on the expansions, of course, we are in active construction on the first phases. So Rocket's main power transformer was delivered recently. We're working on getting the fence up, and I think we are starting to have piles arrive on site. Steel is a bit earlier in construction. We've been working on driveways and mild civil work, but we do have piles on site there. Racking is on the water and is planned to arrive in March. So working on both sides, keeping all the plates spinning, but yeah, that's why we're here today.
Okay. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate it.
Any questions, or am I?
Well, we'll get to you in a sec. And if there's anybody that wants to speak specifically to this project in this public hearing, you have 3 minutes. And
Okay, Deanna Hardy, Brigham. Again, I oppose the redevelopment department and these projects. The government is showing favoritism to certain businesses, which is wrong. You're picking winners and losers. This country was founded on the free market principle, which is being ignored. These solar panels are built in China. The solar panels last about 30 years. They are unsustainable. The unintended consequences that are going to happen is these solar panels are going to wear out, like I said, in 30 years, and then our landfills are going to be filled with these. When you break the seals, they're toxic. China is building and sending America solar panels while they are continuing to build coal plants. If you really believe in liberty and justice for all, we would do away with this redevelopment department and stopping the unfair business practices. We need to stop the Great Reset. It is the rise of the 21st century fascism. These public-private partnerships are part of this plan, the Great Reset. So I ask you to please stop this and return back to the free market principle. Thank you.
is there anyone else who wants to speak to the solar project? And just state your name and where you're from when you sit down.
I'm Carol Larson, and I'm from Promontory. I just wondered if you got the letter that I sent about the wording of the description of the addition,
I got it yesterday, and I didn't.
but you haven't looked at it.
I kind of didn't understand it, so I was following it up to send it to these guys. So the description is not right?
Well, it says less county road, which I'm not sure what that means. There's a road out there that I use, that a lot of people use. It's just a farm road. It's designated.
The one by your house?
Yeah, no, it's not by my house, but it's on the Northrop Grumman property that they're including the 5 acres.
For the battery storage?
Yeah. And
that's where I was confused, because I was just like,
well,
okay.
it's just a farm road. It goes out to about 1,800 acres that I use for cattle and hunting and,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. We're gonna,
yeah, the mosquito abatement uses it, the power company uses it, the gas company uses it.
and I would imagine if it's a county road, it would be less a county road that's on our maps.
If it's a county road, I would love someone to bring a road grader out and take
You
care
set
of
yourself
it.
up for that one.
I know, I was just gonna, I'm not over roads anymore, though, so.
It's hopefully a minor thing, but I'm
Right.
learning that minor things
Oh, turn
in
into
the
big things.
future can become major things, and
And
so,
honestly, when you go back, Liz has got her pen and pencil out.
okay.
She's ready to
She's
take
gonna
your name and
correct it.
number.
I have letter.
Okay, yeah,
An amended letter.
okay.
In the letter I sent, it has that we.
This is the one I read yesterday.
Yeah, we had used the road for 64 years, but that's how long Norfolk Grumman has owned the property. And,
I'm just trying to think of,
If you can do me a favor too, when you're done, if you can give Chrissy your name and number,
it's on,
okay, I'll follow up with Darren McFarland, our roads guy.
all right,
because I'm trying to think, because I used to deliver your propane, so
yeah,
I'm just trying to think of,
it's the road that comes from Highway 83
right,
and then goes, it forks and goes up to the Golden Spike and then around.
right,
I live on the around.
right.
But right before that fork,
There's a dirt road.
there's a dirt road that heads up to the south.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has a gate. It says 41 Club.
If it's got a gate, it's probably not a county road.
That's what I'm pretty sure it isn't.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
So I just,
But probably not isn't going to give her any sense of
Right, no,
security.
that's what I'm just saying.
either give me a sense of security or a road grader to smooth it out a little bit.
Okay, that'd be great.
I'm
Like I
just
said, if you-
joking.
Look into it.
Yeah, we'll look into it and see what we can do.
Just, yeah. All right.
Good to
Thank-
see you. I haven't seen you for a few years.
It's good to see you.
Thanks, you. Okay. Is there anybody else? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
I'd move to close our public hearing.
Second?
Got a motion by Commissioner Scott, a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. It looks like. We really don't have anything, well, we don't have anything to approve then, do we, till the first of the? It's actually not on the agenda, though. All I see is the public hearing for Rocket and Steel Solar. I don't see anything else on the agenda.
Even though it was noticed,
Was it noted on the, was it,
notice that went out.
For the public hearing?
well,
budget?
for the budget, to adopt the budget?
The notice that was out was for the public hearing.
Yeah, I don't,
Nothing for the budget. Okay.
I don't think the other part was
We can
done.
put that on for February.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we'll call Stuart because I think we were
Yeah.
hoping to get it all done today. So we'll just come back in
Okay.
February and then if we can do plan and budget.
Sorry about that.
Make sure
Yeah,
to send us a,
next one is February 2nd, and it'll be in the evening.
Okay.
So,
I think Stuart was going to try to call in, but on this next resolution, have you had a chance to look at that?
I don't look at.
Oh, that's right. Sorry if you had to remind me. I'm not realizing it. Anyway, in short, this RDA 2201 Project Bean would basically be for Nucor. It's just to do just the project area, to create the project area. And that's all it's for as of right now, so there's not much other you can say about that. It's just that that's considering this project area for Nucor on their new project. So
this is in the Plymouth area.
in the Plymouth area,
Yeah.
it's basically everything that Nucor owns, I think, is the project area. Like I said, I thought he was going to call in, but I think he's doing double duty someplace else in southern Utah. So if you got any questions, all we're doing is just approving the project area
I was going
to move
to,
forward.
I was going to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2201, Project Bean for the project area.
Okay, and then this is going to go into survey, and then they'll get a little bit more information
Yes.
before, I mean, this isn't budget or anything,
No,
it's just
this is just a
area.
project area. It's kind of like what we did with the RDAs for the inland port.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
I'll get a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We need to make a motion to change chairs? Or
It's
you-
not on the
or you can
agenda.
stay
Not on
chair?
the agenda.
Oh.
We'll have to do it next time.
Okay.
If it's on the agenda.
We'll make sure it is.
Okay.
Just a statement.
Sorry about that, you guys.
No, no worries.
Well, it is, but speed of government, sorry. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to go back into our regularly scheduled business meeting.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the RDA.
Second?
Got a motion by Commissioner Hatfield, and a second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you'll need to give me just a minute.
Me too.
I'll get you closer.
That letter this morning, I'm just like going. Then I looked up the, well,
There we go.
I think she'll look in to see if that project includes that letter. And then we'll have Darren. Looks on the county map.
So it doesn't just drop.
Okay. About the road.
Well, it might be Golden Spike Drive in the legal description.
No, it's not.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm ready.
We've got our next public hearing that will kick off at noon. Do you want
Explain
to,
it a little bit?
yeah, yeah, and then if you've got time, you can talk to us a little bit about redistricting too. So,
Well, you only got 3 minutes, so this will explain.
This will take care of
Okay.
3 minutes.
I'll talk really slow. I thought it might be good for you to know what processes people have to go through to do an ag protection area. It's become kind of a common thing this year. So when a person comes in and they have to submit a proposal for their property to go in. And our office then sends out letters to everyone who lives within 1,000 feet of the properties questioned. And then it gives them like a 15-day comment period for them to say whether they want it or, give any comments. And then after that period's over, we send the proposal to our Ag Protection Board, and then they review it, and we also give it to the Planning Commission, and then it goes on the Planning Commission meeting, and then once they've either approved or denied, they send us back a copy of their approval or denial. And then we schedule a public hearing, and we, again, send out mailers to every property owner within 1,000 feet, notifying them of the public hearing. And then at that point, it comes to here for the public hearing. And once it's done, then we send notification to the Commissioner of Agriculture, and it's also recorded. So those are kind of the steps that they have to go through. And they have to pay some money, so.
no, that's good background.
If we got just a little, I could probably add, there's very specific criteria that you have to find for an agriculture, and I'll just read those really quickly if that's okay. One, whether or not the land is currently being used for agricultural production. Number two, whether or not the land is zoned for agricultural use. Number three, whether or not the land is viable for agricultural production. Number four, the extent and nature of existing or proposed farm improvements. And number five, anticipated trends in agricultural technology conditions. So those things should have been evaluated by the board and the planning commission, but they're also supposed to be evaluated by you guys when you decide what you're doing here.
I do have a letter of recommendation from the board as well as the planning commission also on this one.
You talk for 30 more seconds, it'll be noon.
No, I was at the planning commission when this was discussed, and these are these are great tools in my opinion. In most cases, these ag operations have been around well longer than pretty much any of the landowners that are within 1,000 feet or property owners. And so I think it's a good way of letting folks know this is where you live, this is what may be happening.
When they do a title search,
So-
it actually comes up on a title search. If they're going to buy something around it, it says that the property close to you is in an ag protection. I've had plenty of phone calls saying, what's an ag protection zone?
So they know.
I think you'll be seeing a few more. We have another quite large one that just came in, so.
Okay. Very good. We will call the public hearing for the Mizrazi Agricultural Protection area to It's now open. If anyone would like to speak to this specifically, you have 3 minutes at this time.
What is an ag protection?
Oh, that's what we just talked about. It's basically something that just states, hey, if you live in this area, you may smell a little bit of manure. There may be tractors on the road. There may be a little dust.
Flies.
We were probably here before you. This is our lifestyle. Deal with it. It's in a little bit nicer way than that, but
There's also an industrial protection area that they've done through the state and the federal government too, that you can have an industrial protection area. P&G's in one, Nucor's in one. There's there's ag protection areas all over the place.
So if I want to put up another building, it's not gonna hold me back?
It's just to let any future growth know that as they come in, that, hey, if you start complaining about your surroundings, this was already designated as agriculture first.
Just kind of let you know what's going on before.
Yep.
I've lived with it all my life, I'm good. I'll make sure it was.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what it is.
I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve
Close.
close the Mizrazi Agriculture Protection public hearing.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, Resolution 2203 for the Mizrazi Agriculture Protection Area.
I make a motion, we approve Resolution 2203 for the Mizrazi Agriculture Protection Area.
Upon attorney approval.
Oh, yeah, pending attorney approval.
Second?
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. We'll have another public hearing that will open at 12:10. Let's see, I still haven't seen Laura here.
You can have,
Jenica, you got enough time for covering the fairgrounds? We're jumping all over the map, but want to be respectful of everybody's time.
Okay, so I'm before you today to discuss a weekend differential policy at the fairgrounds. So as you know, we've had some staffing issues up there. We've had some staffing changes. And basically what this would do is weekends would be Saturday morning starting at 12 a.m. and going through Sunday night at 12 p.m., midnight p.m., so 12 a.m. I guess. It says 11:59 in the policy. It would allow us to compensate the workers out there at a differential pay for those hours worked as an incentive to get them to work those hours. As you know, the fairgrounds is a weekend facility. It's very important that we staff it. So this would be an added incentive for those employees to pick up the weekend shifts.
also incentivize some people to come to work,
Yeah.
so.
So it does only affect the fairgrounds. The night differential, if they work from 10 to 6, would be in addition to that weekend differential. So there's the possibility of getting a pretty good differential if you work after 10 on Saturday night.
Okay. And I would guess, and this is just guessing, that at least half of the events are on weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
Is this just an amendment to the policy then?
No, it's creating a fairgrounds department policy, but it
Okay.
just needs your approval
this have a
because it
number,
affects
or-
pay. Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the fairgrounds weekend differential policy then.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And
Okay.
do you want your PA list too,
Yes,
really quick?
please.
Surely.
What else can you knock out in 5 minutes?
Let's see. Oh, this will be fun. Annie, would you like to cover our OSHA mandate for us?
I can probably do that,
Oh,
unless you really
come
want to put her
on.
on the spot.
All right. You got 5 minutes, Steve, at least, or longer if you want.
All right. This is on the agenda because, as you recall, last county commission meeting, it was reluctantly, the mandatory vaccination policy was reluctantly adopted by the county. Since then, we've had a ruling from the Supreme Court, which essentially puts that back on hold. But there is a chance that it could come back again. the procedural status basically is it was referred back to the Sixth Circuit, and they have to do a ruling on it. I think they were pretty express about what they wanted the Sixth Circuit to do, but doesn't mean the Sixth Circuit has to do that. So what we need today is, by its own language, I think it puts itself on hold, but it would be good for you guys to indicate that, yeah, you want to put that policy on hold. Don't do away with it completely, because it might come back. But that's the purpose of having this on the agenda. I don't know if there's any questions.
Why would they not just definitively decide and be done with it? Why send it back?
Job security.
No, yeah, pretty much.
Sorry.
Because the only thing that was on appeal was the temporary stay. The actual permanent injunction was not on appeal. That has to still be decided.
They are saying that usually the Supreme Court doesn't get bucked by a lower court, but like Steve
can
said,
happen.
it can happen. But everybody I've been talking to in the AG's office are saying they explicitly think that this is their last ditch effort by the Biden administration to try to do a mandate.
And
OSHA anyway.
it did explicitly say that healthcare workers were still affected. We don't have any employees that would be classified as healthcare workers. Is that correct? In the county?
Not that I know of. Janica, do you have any idea about that?
I mean,
Federally funded medical.
Oh.
Medicare.
Okay.
I was just wondering with jail staff, with a nurse, I just didn't want
Question.
us getting into a situation where we had one or two people that were,
But it'd still affect over 100 employees, so you'd have to have over
you'd have to
100
have
employees to
100.
have that into effect. So if we only have one, we're not in effect by it.
is it 100 employees or 100 affected employees?
Did you say affected or infected?
Both.
How's
So-
that for clarity?
I guess so. There's no question down the road. Why aren't you guys enforcing this policy? Probably just a resolution today saying that you're going to put it on hold.
No, I agree.
I make a motion that, was there a resolution number?
No, there isn't. It's just informal.
I make a motion that we put the OSHA mandate on hold until further notice.
Second?
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for your work on this.
That was a lot easier to vote for.
It was, once again, some unnecessary staff time spent on something that really didn't need to happen, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, our next public hearing is at 12:10. Just gonna ask, anybody know any good jokes? Let's see. Marla, you want to start in on redistricting or precinct changes?
Okay,
If I need to,
and it will take
cut you
longer
off.
than a couple minutes,
if I
but
need to cut you off, we'll cut into it and then we'll finish and then we'll
This
go to
isn't
the
your
public
joke,
hearing.
right?
No,
I'll try to go as quick as possible.
you're good.
But as you know, every 10 years, we get a census, and with that, we're directed as clerks that we do redistricting. It's not a small feat in any way. And this year, the last 10 years, we've had some growth, and we've had growth where we've had to split some precincts. So I'm kind of going to go through some of that. We have split some, and we've also combined some. We have to redistrict for the school board, and each of their areas have to be kind of equivalent in population. We have to redistrict for what they call a voter participation area. That's kind of new. And what a voter participation area does, if we have like a countywide or a statewide referendum, mostly countywide because statewide done on a different level, but people would have to get signatures, a certain percentage from each voter participation area, instead of, say, they couldn't get everything from the south part of the county for a countywide initiative or referendum. They'd have to get it equally out of each participation area. And so that's something that is just new within the last 3 or 4 years. And then on our precincts, and this state code won't allow us to go over 1,250 voters in a precinct. And we had several that are really close to encroaching on that, so we had to split those off. And if you want to open your hearing right now, you can.
It's that time. We will go ahead and open the public hearing for the ag lease, parcel 070940008, Hawks.
Just show it.
And we'll open that. We'll let you finish, then we'll do the public
I'll be
hearing.
quick. Probably our biggest precincts that we had to split were Willard. So Willard is split in half. And we now have a Willard 1 and a Willard 2. South Willard, we split them as well. We have a South Willard 1 and a South Willard 2. And surprisingly, we ended up pretty close in Honeyville. So Honeyville is split now into a couple of different ones. And we made an additional precinct out in Tremont. There's now 6 precincts instead of 5 out there. In the past, we've kind of had an issue where some of our little teeny tiny precincts out west, they have sometimes maybe 10 voters in them. So we have combined and made, when you look on the maps, it's ginormous, but we've combined made a Box Elder West precinct so that on these little precincts, their ballots will be more of a private matter. Because sometimes like Clear Creek only had 10, Promontory at one point only had 17. So especially on primaries, you could really tell whose vote it was on occasion, if they voted the same or whatever. So now being one big precinct, there won't be that privacy issue. It'll completely be anonymous. We have fixed a few different lines when the House district was split. It changed the boundary lines in the north part of Brigham City. House District 1 got a few more blocks, and House District 29 is now House District 6. And so we've got a lot of retaining in our mind now to remember all the number changes.
So is that Matt Gwynn's?
Yes. So, and Joel Ferry's. So Joel Ferry's
Still number 1.
Yeah, is still number 1. And our Senate district used to be 17 and now it's number 1. So there's a few things to remember there. But as they made that split, in school board, it actually kicked Brian Smith into a different House district. And so it also kicked him into a new precinct. And so it has caused some changes there with the school board, and he's now in the same district as Nancy Kennedy. And so we've had to look at some of the rules and stuff on that. And so one person, they'll have to decide who it is, will represent District 5, and then the other person will serve at large until the end of their term. And they will need to fill District 6, because at this point there's not a representative for the school district number 6. And then it'll be on the ballot this year for a 2-year term. So that kind of messed things up just a little bit for the school board. But other than that, trying to think if there's any others. Oh, we combined a couple that were smaller, like Brigham City North and Bear River East are now one precinct. We did that with a few, just as it's easier for the parties sometimes when they're trying to get their delegates to equal out. It helps so that they don't have to combine so many little tiny precincts to get their state delegate allocated. Trying to think if I have left off anything. But that's really kind of it in a nutshell. The resolution defines that, these precincts have to be done every 10 years. And then right now the recorder's office is going over and proofreading all the legal descriptions. They've had to rewrite a lot of legal descriptions, and they've been really great. The GIS department, Janessa Knotts especially, this was a real learning game for her, and she's been super amazing. I mean, we've spent hours and hours and hours in this process. But I just would like to commend Chad and his staff because they've really had to put a lot of stuff on the back burner to help us get this done, so.
Let me open the public hearing as well for the ag lease parcel 04068016. So that's the layers on the GIS on the maps that have to do with the precincts. Those will have to be tweaked.
Yes, so that's
Okay.
what we've been working on and dividing it up so it's kind of equally, especially for school board and those voter participation areas.
Okay. Cool.
Any
Well, appreciate
questions
your
you guys
work.
have? The resolution, Steve does still need to review it. I've been waiting for the legal descriptions and stuff, so, but it does have to be passed before January 31st, so.
And again, the parcels are primarily driven by, or the precincts population.
Correct.
Okay.
Or registered voters when we divide precincts.
So let's go ahead and pass this pending Steve's approval. Okay. I'd make a motion we approve.
Let's see.
Well, go ahead.
Technically, we need to have a
Yeah,
public hearing on that,
Let me get
right?
ahead of
Not
myself.
on this one. This
Nope.
isn't a public hearing.
Oh, okay,
That's just
I'm on a
information.
different one. Okay,
Okay.
very good.
So do you want me to go ahead and make a motion then? I'll make a motion, we approve Resolution 2202, voting precinct changes pending county attorney's review.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I do have some maps if you want to look at them.
okay. Thanks, Marla. Tom, do you want to cover these two different ag leases before we open it up for public comment?
No, but you will.
The first is an ag lease with Nick Hawks that would be for $700 a year. This is the old landfill up in Plymouth. Nick was the only bidder on the parcel. It's a 3-year contract. It's our standard ag lease agreement. Any other questions from the commissioners on it?
Nope. Want to just follow the next one and then can we do public hearings after or while you're up here?
Yeah, and then the other ag lease would be with Clark Land and Livestock. This is the piece just outside of Bear River City. The price for it was $1,975 per year. Again, it's a 3-year term. They have already paid the first 2 years, and I believe they were also the only bidder on the lease.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have the two different public hearings open for the different ag leases. If there's anybody that would like to speak to either one of these leases, specifically to that item, feel free to come up now, and you have 3 minutes.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearings.
Second?
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. And Steve, as we talked about this, it looks like we will need to kick these forward to our next meeting to actually approve the leases because we've just got the public hearings on here?
Yep.
Okay. All right, very good.
I just got
Can you do that, Marla? Okay,
a text from Maura Gale and I can go over that stuff.
awesome.
So
Okay,
the new economic CED board, again, is Norm Fakui, Lyle Holmgreen, Corbett Austin, and Malone Mogard, Dean Stokes, and it says you, which means me. So those are the new members of the CED board. So we just need to have a motion to accept those members.
I'll make a motion that we accept the members of the CED board.
Second.
have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye. And then we had a meeting yesterday and they voted for the recommendations for the Utah Rural County grant spending. And they voted for $115,000 to go through broadband infrastructure, $115,000 to go to industrial and logistics infrastructure, and private capital incentive program at $50K. So that's what's happening until we find out where all that money is going to go for sure, and then we'll go back to the board and tell them for
So
sure
those
what's
are the
going.
pieces of the pie, and then when those actually get allocated out of those pieces will be at the next meeting or
Yep.
after
Yep.
applications come in. Okay.
Yep. So, do you want me to make a motion? You better make the motion since I,
That would
Okay.
be great.
I'll make a motion on the recommendations for the Utah Rural County grant spending.
second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield and a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. We've been playing dot to dot here. Let me make sure that we haven't missed anything. Okay. Rob, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Good.
You should have received an electronic copy. Would anybody want a paper copy?
I think I've already got one, plus I've got my electronics, so.
State law requires that the local mental health authority.
Oh, will you state your name for the record? Just
Rob Johnson,
keep open in public meetings
Bear
happy.
Mental Health.
Thanks.
So the local mental health authority is supposed to certify that they have received a copy of the audit and had an interview with one of the executive officers. So I'm here to fulfill that requirement, and here's the thing that needs to be signed. So I'll just take you quickly through the audit, hit some of the highlights, and then if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them. And Commissioner Scott was there when the audit was presented by Carver, Floric, and James, so feel free to chime in if you have anything to add. If you turn to page 5, this is the independent auditor's report. In the second paragraph, they state, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of Bear Mental Health Services, Inc. as of June 30th, 2021 and 2020, and the changes in its net assets and cash flows for the years then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So they're stating that it was a clean audit, clean opinion. Back on page 27.
Hey, Rob, sorry to interrupt you. Can I have one of those?
You bet.
Because I don't have the email here. Thanks.
Back on page 27 is the report to the Board of Directors. And right near the bottom there, this is where they go through and say, did we have any problems when we did the audit? And they said, we did not identify any significant control deficiencies or other matters during our audit. A couple of pages in front of that on page 25, down there in the second to last sentence on that page, during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control and that we consider to be a material weakness. This is their report about internal controls. And on page 26, the last sentence in the second to last paragraph under compliance and other matters, the results of our test disclose no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards. And then if we'll go to page 9, this is the statement on activities, or the net income statement. The third line down is the county revenue. So that's the cash, Box Elder, and Rich County amounts, that $468,000. I like to picture our funding as an upside down pyramid with the county portion at the bottom. So that $468,000 is used to match the state dollars. It's required a 20 cents on a dollar match. And then we use those state and county dollars to bring in the biggest part of our revenue, which is the Medicaid revenue. So that $468,000 brings in almost $15 million to serve the people of this Tri-County area. You can see that this year we had a third line from the bottom, $1,963,000 net income. The public health emergency has been good for the mental health system, meaning that no one can be kicked off of Medicaid, so there's more Medicaid eligibles, and we get a break on the match that we have to pay. If we turn to page 8, this is the statement of financial positions, or the balance sheet. You can see the cash has gone up. The biggest issue there was the net income. Also, look down in the middle of the page, there's an unexpended county fund lines that I like to talk about when I go and meet with the counties. Those are funds, if the commission ever approves more money in your budget for mental health, then we actually need to match those state dollars. We put it on our balance sheet as an unexpended county that you can use in a year. If they ever give money midway through a year and you don't reopen your budget, then we can use that money to match that new money coming in.
Isn't about 40 to 45,000 of that
Yep.
attributed to Box Elder County?
Box Elder County is actually a little over 49,000.
Okay.
So you're the majority of that 77,000. And then if you'll turn to page 20, there's just one new note in the audit that I'd like to go over quickly. So this is potential Medicaid settlements. Medicaid Medicaid has added Medicaid expansion. And with Medicaid expansion, there's actually a risk corridor that in our contract where if our medical loss ratio doesn't fall within a certain percentage, we may have to pay them back or they may need to pay us back. But it's for the year that we're talking about, it's still currently under review by the Medicaid system and the auditors that they've hired. So we couldn't put an estimate in here because we don't have an estimate. It looks like they will probably owe us money from this year, and that in future years, the year we're currently in, it looks like we'll probably owe them money back. So the amounts I don't know, but just so that you know those things. And the legacy, there's nothing in the contract, and it doesn't look like they will be asking for any money back on that. With
Okay.
that, I'm open for any questions.
With the net income that's there this year, I'm assuming that some of that could offset this medical loss ratio in the future,
Well,
potentially.
what it does is eventually the public health emergency is going to go away and we'll have to pay the full match. And I think we'll see the Medicaid eligibility drop, but we'll still have the same number of people who need services. And if we need to take some of that money off the balance sheet, then we sure can for services.
Isn't there the potential that it could get a lot more expensive because of the drop in state beds as well? And so you could
Yeah,
be paying
sure
for
could be.
emergency room beds
Yeah.
because we don't have our full allocation anymore?
So they closed a unit at the state hospital, and they've also, right now, they're saying no one can get in because of the COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
That's been one of the biggest costs for Bear River Mental Health is when some of the mental health patients are in emergency rooms for an extended period of time because the cost on that's astronomical in comparison to state beds.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We pay the hospitals about $1,250 a day
Yeah.
when they're there.
So at times there will be a net surplus.
Yeah.
At other times, it's gone. So, okay. No, Rob and his team, Trevor Cook on compliance, they do an amazing job. Everything is always just transparent and right where it needs to be. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Info.
And I believe we need a motion. Do we not? Or do we
I
just
think
need to sign this?
A motion that you've received and had the interview and then sign that, yeah.
I'll make a motion, we approve the audited financial systems for 2021, right?
And 2020,
2020?
2021 and 2020.
Okay, 2020 and 2021.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
This one requires everybody's signature, so, Marla, I'm assuming you'll need a copy of this?
Yes.
Okay,
No, I don't think I do on that. No,
on this one?
no,
Okay,
I won't need it.
all right, we'll just have Commissioner Hadfield sign it and we'll send it with you.
Just a copy.
Good to have you here.
Would be good. Do you have an extra? I don't have a copy. Of the book?
Oh, I've got it.
I'll just put that with her.
Okay, thanks, Rob. All right. Brad Mortensen. We gonna get this fixed today? Do you want to come up here and tell us what it is that we're fixing and might get a little input from our county attorney and Mr. Montgomery as well on this one, so. This is a quitclaim deed for some property around Manaway Town Hall.
Right.
Do you want to give us a background on this?
Just, yeah, state your names, everybody into the mic. You're gonna have to pull the mic right up to you too, so we can hear.
I'm Pam Eves, and I'm here on behalf of the town of Manaway.
And I'm Brad Mortensen at Heritage West Title. Pam is the one that reached out to our company for some help with this issue. And I think, hopefully you've seen this explanatory paragraph that I provided.
Yeah,
It gives some background.
we've been talking about it for quite a while.
Great. So I don't know if you want me to go over that, or if you have questions, I'm happy to address them.
I just had one or two. It looks like there's a notation on here on the map that says null conflict. Is that the piece that's in question? That's just,
It's part of it, yes.
okay. So basically the gist is that there was a small piece that was there. There was some for the Box Elder School District. This one kind of got left behind and became an orphan parcel. And what we're doing is basically just quit claiming this from Box Elder County to Manaway, where it should be anyway. And then everything around City Hall there would pertain to Manaway City.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, this dates back to 1932. It's been this way for a really long time. Residential property that's bought and sold from time to time, there's the occasion to do a title search and find problems like this and rectify them. Where this belongs to a municipality, there's been probably no reason for them to go through that process. And I suspect that's why it kind of got hung up. We were really focused on just a portion of this property that's included in that tax deed. But when Scott Westover from my office, who's here with us, went to speak to Chad Montgomery, the county recorder, bringing this to their attention, I think it was his suggestion that let's just use the entire description from the tax deed to clear up everything so that there's just no question about that entire area.
Okay. Any questions, concerns on this, Steve?
No, I met with Brad at length, went over all the, there's a lot of paperwork on this, went over all the paperwork. Talked to Chad, I think he's okay with it as well. Yep. The one thing I would note is the county really doesn't have a claim to ownership in this parcel right now, so it doesn't involve the surplus property. We don't have to go through that process. All we're doing is just clearing up the title, saying, yeah, we don't own this, here's a quitclaim deed.
Because way back when, we were wondering if it was the state road that owned some of it, because they were, anyway, yeah, so way back when, that I remember.
Obviously, part of it, since that deed was given, has been taken up by the widening of that road through there.
But I can tell you, I relied on Chad quite a bit, and Brad, appreciate both of them doing this. I trust both of them, and I've gone over it myself, so I think we're in good shape.
I like the idea. Let's get a 90-year-old mess cleaned up. You gentlemen have any questions? I actually read through this. It's kind of interesting, these old deeds from back in the 30s. So
I was just going to say, since we're cleaning up one mess, can we make a trade to clean up another mess on parking up there?
Don't open up that.
Is that on the agenda, Steve?
Didn't want to throw that out there, but
Can of
I
worms.
will anyway.
You had to go there, didn't you?
Sorry.
Ruined the
Anyway.
feel-good moment.
It is interesting, I think, just, on a human interest level, this tax deed, this was Depression era, and so the total amount of taxes that were due that caused this person to lose their property was $14.04. That was for 5 years worth of taxes, so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty small
Times
parcel.
were
It's
tough
tiny.
back then.
Wow. Okay. Are you still looking through your things?
No, I'm good. Nope. Yeah, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the quitclaim deed to clear up the title for Manaway Town Hall property.
I'll second that motion.
Very good. Have a motion by Commissioner Hadfield, a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Great.
there we go.
Just as a practical question, I have a copy of that deed here. It will need to be signed and notarized. I wasn't sure who on the commission would be the signer.
The chair.
Over the chair.
Okay. Would you like me to amend this to put your name on it, Jeff, and then send it perhaps to Marla?
I think I mean, it just says by. It doesn't specifically denote a name, so I should be fine. I don't think we'd need to amend it.
Okay.
And I'll notarize it when I get back to my office.
Okay.
So we can get it from you later.
Uh-huh.
Perfect. All right.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a
for
lot.
coming.
I'm watching. Good to see you.
All right.
Don't take your eyes off.
Cheryl, would you like to tell us what's happening in
Wandering eye.
victims advocacy and with your VOCA grant?
Shame on you.
All right. Well, as you know, Victim Services at the County Attorney's Office is supported in part by the Utah Office for Victims of Crime through a grant awarded by the Office for Victims of Crime at the U.S. Department of Justice. One of the grant conditions requires that we report to you, our county commission, biannually on the services our department has provided to victims of crime in our county. We cover First District Court and juvenile court cases. Since July 2021, Victim Services has served 390 victims. Of those 390 victims, there were 52 victims of identity theft, fraud, or other financial crimes, 71 victims of domestic violence, 61 victims of adult physical assault, 12 victims of adult sexual assault, 20 victims of child physical abuse, 29 victims of child sexual abuse, 20 victims of burglary, 34 victims of DUI incidents, 4 victims of stalking or harassment, 13 survivors of homicide victims, and 101 victims of other crimes such as protective order violations, theft, and criminal mischief. There are some victims who are victims of multiple crime victim categories as well. There are 2 different types of victim advocates, community-based and system-based. Community-based advocates are found in domestic violence programs like New Hope Crisis Center, sexual assault programs, and other nonprofit programs. System-based advocates work with victims who are navigating the criminal justice system. These advocates are found in police departments and law office such as our county attorney's office. To understand what we do at Victim Services, one needs to understand victim rights outlined in the Utah Constitution. Victims have a right to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity, and to be free from harassment and abuse throughout the criminal justice process. During the last quarter, the Administrative Office of the Courts developed standardized forms for criminal protective orders, including pretrial, sentencing, and continuous protective orders. In the last quarter, we have helped file requests for criminal protective orders, which the judge did order, for 21 victims. As we attend all district court and juvenile court proceedings that involve victims, we and the attorneys are ensuring that this right of being treated with fairness, respect, and dignity is occurring. Victims have a right to be informed, present, and heard at important hearings and to have timely notice of these proceedings. We notify victims of when charges have been filed, when court dates have been scheduled, inform them of their right to attend these hearings, and help answer questions concerning court proceedings. Most hearings are being held online, so each week we are emailing the court's WebEx link to those victims who have cases scheduled the following Monday, so they may attend if they choose. We also meet with the victim and the prosecutor at various times during the case so the victim can have a better understanding of court proceedings and for them to give their input. Victims have a right to submit and have information considered at sentencing. If the prosecutor has a plea offer for a defendant, we discuss this offer with the victim and get their input. Victims also have a right to be heard at sentencing. This can be done in various ways, from a written statement submitted before the hearing or a statement read at sentencing hearing either by the victim or victim advocate. We help ensure that victims get the opportunity to be heard. Victims have a right to restitution and/or reparations. When a victim is owed restitution, we assist in calculating restitution and help file the necessary paperwork with the court. If a victim is eligible for reparations, we assist them on completing and submitting those forms as well. Victims have a right to a speedy trial and disposition. As you know, COVID has affected many areas of our life, and the judicial system is just one of them. During 2020, the court system essentially shut down. This shutdown created a backlog of cases going to trial. Trials have been scheduled 3 to 5 cases deep on the same days. So if one gets resolved, another one can go forward. Even with this type of scheduling, trials have now been scheduled out to December 2022. The length of court case can be difficult for victims who want to be able to move on from their victimization. We are regularly talking with victims and keeping them updated on the status of their case. Victims have a right to a secure waiting area. Right now, most hearings are being held online. Though there are some issues having court online, there are some benefits. Victims often feel safer just logging on, not having to turn their video or their sound, or even putting their name on the screen. They are able to observe court in the safety of their home. However, there are some hearings being held in person, such as preliminary hearings, evidentiary hearings, and trials, which the victim often attends. One of our goals is to work with First District Court to better ensure there is a specific area for victims. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the courthouse. It's not very specific for victims to be waiting. Our victims often need other type of help that we are not able to provide, such as housing, financial assistance, food assistance, counseling, etc. If they haven't already accessed these services, we refer our victims to these community services available to help them. Overall, our victim services has provided all of the above mentioned services 4,532 times in the last 6 months. In my previous employment, I conducted investigations with law enforcement into child abuse and neglect. As part of the investigation, I was able to conduct forensic interviews with children. Due to changes in DCFS policy on their out-of-home perpetrator investigations, victim advocates at the county attorney's office were trained to conduct these interviews to help DCFS where DCFS was not able to be involved. Those initial advocates have since left the office, and the DCFS policy has changed. However, I'm still able to conduct forensic interviews and have conducted 12 interviews in the last 6 months. Due to some changes being made in the rotation of the interviewers, I will likely be conducting more interviews in the coming months. As mentioned before, we are system-based advocates, and as far as I know, the only system-based advocates in the county. Last quarter, we went to most of the county law enforcement agencies. I say most. We have one more next week, and one did not respond. And provided training on services that we provide, training on information on the new protective order forms, how trauma affects the brain, how we can help them and help the victims they are serving during their investigation. This may include helping victims in reducing their anxiety, their fear, their reluctance, in collaborating with law enforcement, sitting with victims during interviews, or referring victims to community agencies. The last 6 months were my first 6 months at the county attorney's office, and I have been amazed and grateful for the other advocates, their work, and their dedication to helping victims. I appreciate that the county attorneys, the legal secretaries, and investigator all share the same work ethic and dedication to ensure victims' voices are heard. And I appreciate your time and your support of our program. That's it.
How many victims advocates are there in the office?
We have 2 full-time, including me, and then we have a part-time advocate who covers juvenile court.
We can't thank you enough. I don't even know how you sleep at night when you were talking about some of the things that you help these people through. How can you, I mean, just like the law enforcement, I don't understand sometimes how you can shut that door and kind of leave that at work, so.
There are days.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
We're grateful you're here, and sadly, I mean, those numbers, there's probably quite a few. I mean, how many more that aren't reported?
Yep, and
So-
many more that just aren't able to go through that judicial process, but
Yeah.
pretty sure things happened.
That's
Just
sad.
not enough evidence, right? So there's a
Thank
lot
you.
more that happens.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks
what you
that
do,
info.
and
Yeah.
I know that there's some good outcomes that keep you going. So,
There have to be, right?
right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Correct me, Marla, but I think after connecting all the dots, I think we've hit all the agenda items today, haven't we?
A little wild ride, huh?
Yeah. All right. Well, they say that planes are off course about 90% of the time, but usually land okay, so. All right. I believe that we have one item in a closed session.
Make a motion that we go into a closed session to talk about
Real estate.
land
Okay.
acquisition.
Second?
Have a motion by Commissioner Summers and a second by Commissioner Hadfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.